Yes, it is obvious that the Jailer wanted Anduin to infiltrate Bastion and to steal that sigil. This much we knew, we saw it happen, and even Blizzard confirmed it themselves, but it is more than obvious that he has some other grander plans for the Priest King. Why is that? Out of all the people across so many planets, across so many kingdoms, why is that he decided to send his Kyrian after Anduin Rin, and why did he go through so much effort in order to break him? Check out Gamivo, this video is sponsored, where you can get almost any game, DLC, Shadowlands, and 2-month game time at discounted prices. Use code Doron for an even larger discount by clicking the link in the description. One thing to note is that the Jailer has generally been many steps ahead of us since he was first introduced. I know this annoys many people. As the sky above Azeroth was shattered and the path into the Shadowlands lay open, Zovaal sent his best Forsworn to abduct 4 important figures of Azeroth. These were Bane, Jaina, Troll, and Anduin. Then we managed to free them, only for them to be captured again and sent into the chamber, with Anduin being locked and hidden in the most inner and the most well-guarded one. Now, it seems kinda obvious why he decided to take these 4 figures. Well, they're the leaders of the 2 factions, some of the most important and powerful characters, and obviously if you want to weaken your enemy, it is best to take out the brains behind the operations, because all these 4 characters played crucial roles on Azeroth within the past few decades. However, I think this is an incredible simplification of his actions and plans, and that his actual reason of why he did that, we will only learn as the story progresses. Let us look back at one of the most important events of the Shadowlands, when we were all trying to escape and we ran into the frontline soldiers of Zovaal, and Zovaal himself surrounded by an entire moss-worn army. We faced total annihilation at his hands, but I'd say this was really just one big test the Jailer laid out for us, which he pretty much openly said that we have passed flawlessly. He was pleased by 2 things he saw. Jailer was most shocked that we, the champions of Azeroth, were able to activate a first one artifact, and he just said, interesting. Obviously, he said this with a very straight face, like he was not amused, but I think this was really just a poker face. Inside, he was really like thrilled and shocked. The second thing that happened is that Anduin managed to call down the powers of the light right into the god-forsaken maw, which once again was a big point of interest for the Jailer. Now, I wouldn't really say he really expected this, or at least not in the same manner that it had happened. This here, I'd say, altered his original plans, and if it was just a probe he sent, then it solidified what he already thought. My speculation is that he realized that we, the champions of Azeroth, are key, and that he will deal with us later on, and Anduin is a lot more important than he previously imagined, and in fact, he was the key figure he wanted out of the 4 hand-picked. Now, of course, the most obvious reason why Zovaal thought Anduin was important was his Bastion mission. Anduin is literally the perfect person for Bastion. Self-sacrificing, humble, a heroic figure that would be welcomed into Bastion with open hands, and no one would doubt whether his mind was infiltrated or not. No one would really see anything nefarious behind his visit. This bit is also obvious. I mean, on BlizzCon they literally confirmed that this was the reason the Jailer picked Anduin, as it really seemed like getting the sigil from Kyrestia was the hardest one, as it was really the most well-guarded one as well. However, this is but one part of the puzzle, and it is obvious that Zovaal used Anduin a few times more, and ultimately he followed him through that portal at the end of Sanctum of Domination. I'd go as far as to say that his successful mission in Bastion was yet another test for his ultimate mission, and that is related to this fabled Sepulcher the Jailer is after. See, we still don't know what exactly the Sepulcher is, but we kind of know at least the direction of what the Jailer is after. He wants to break the machinery of the First Ones that holds the entire universe under control. He wants to undo the universe essentially, and he wants everyone else to serve, which means that he plans to become the most powerful cosmological being in the cosmos. In regards to Anduin's role, I have 2 theories I think make the most amount of sense. So, yes, Anduin had all the Bastion-worthy qualities, and that is why he picked him for that undercover mission, but I'd say that the main characteristic he saw in him was his connection to the light, which is another powerful cosmological force. Anduin literally managed to call its power in the most secluded realm in the afterlife, possibly the entire universe, that not even the beings of the Shadowlands can enter, let alone leave. What if he, outside of the sigil he needed to reach the Sepulcher, he also needs the powers of the light? It definitely makes sense when you think about it. Yes, light is just one of the various cosmological forces, but really, it is one of the remaining few powerful ones. Order was all but defeated with the Titans. Disorder fell into, well, disorder when the Burning Legion was defeated. So really now only Light, Void, Life and Death are the big guys, the big bad guys. He's obviously controlling Death. He may use us ultimately as forces of life, and Anduin is of the light, and most recently he also had some Void influence. So it is entirely possible that he needs powers from all the cosmological forces, as in all the cosmological sigils, in order to unlock and undo the mechanism. Now, of course, this is definitely a bit more of a wilder, very loose theory, but the other one that I think is more likely is that Anduin, just like us, is quite related to Azeroth. Previously, I've made various videos speculating that Azeroth could actually be this Sepulcher that the Jailer is after. Really, many things are hinting that Azeroth is either the Sepulcher, or it will play some sort of a key role in him reaching / unlocking it. We are really the biggest hint here. See, the first ones created this mechanism where they control the universe, and they created this endless cycle of renewal and death that everyone is kinda trapped in. Now, why would we, Azeroth empowered champions, be able to trigger a first one artifact so far within the mod? Why would Azeroth be able to trigger a first one artifact? Really, this seems like a strong hint that our world soul, if it even is a world soul, is highly related to these architects, these progenitors of the universe. The other hint is that the Jailer said that death is coming for Azeroth, more than likely talking about death as a cosmological force, and as you may know, he's now the manifestation of it. It really seems like quite a foreshadowing that he plans to reach Azeroth eventually. Now, how does Anduin come into play here? Well, he's like the second Lich King, which, as you know, was the Jailer's original foothold into our planet. Second, Anduin is familiar with the World Soul and may just be the right size and shape to be able to reach it for the Jailer. But another interesting speculation is that we're obviously now dead set on freeing him, and this could definitely be a part of this big trap. Really, the Jailer may actually be using Anduin as bait in order to get us the actual keys he needs to fall under his control and to open the Sepulcher. Remember, it wasn't Anduin that activated the first one artifact, it was us. As we escaped, the Jailer had Anduin that he of course planned to use for the sigils, but I'd say his ultimate plan might be to get us to save him so that he can cast out the net and get us to fall right into the trap, and then he can utilize the champions of Azeroth to crack open Azeroth and ultimately the first one mechanism. Thank you for watching. Check out who would win, Jailer or Sargeras, by clicking on the screen, and also check out Doronsmovies Academy for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.